In a busy hospital on the west side of Chicago, a nurse named Maya Thompson thought she was starting a normal shift. But that night, she would save a man who wasn't meant to survive. A man whose name could never be written on any chart. A man whose enemies wanted him dead before dawn. And for the next several months, Maya would unknowingly become the only thing standing between him and a violent American Mafia war. This is the story of the silent patient she saved. The man who was never supposed to be found. The ambulance crashed through the ER doors at 11:47 p.m. Two paramedics rushed in a man bleeding badly, stab wounds across his ribs, one deep enough to kill a normal person. But he wasn't normal. No ID, no phone, no fingerprints in the system, no family contact. Just one thing. A tattoo partially visible across his chest, a broken crown. Maya frowned. She had seen it once. In a documentary about the Marino crime family, one of the oldest Mafia families in America. But she shook it off. She was a nurse, not a detective. The man was unconscious, barely breathing, death hovering over him. Maya, we're losing him. I need suction now. Doctors rushed, but something about his vitals. He fought back, as if refusing to die. Hours passed. Finally, the flatline threat faded. He lived, but when he woke, he didn't speak. Not a word, not even a whisper. He just stared, deeply, cautiously, at Maya, as if studying her soul. For days, he didn't speak. Doctors thought he was traumatized. Police thought he was hiding something. Maya thought he was afraid, but she didn't know of what. Whenever a police detective tried questioning him, he closed his eyes, shut them out. Only when they left did he look at Maya again. One night, during rounds, she noticed something. The man had detached his foreline. Not violently, carefully, like someone trained. Then he motioned with his eyes toward the door. Someone was coming. Seconds later, two men in suits tried to enter the ICU wing. Not relatives, not police. Their walk was too organized, their eyes too sharp. Security stopped them. But Maya saw one thing. A matching tattoo, the broken crown, on one man's wrist. Her heart froze. This patient was not just any victim. He belonged to the American Mafia, and someone was hunting him. At 3:19 a.m., the hospital lost power. Only for 8 seconds. But long enough for the emergency lights to flicker, and for Maya to feel a chill colder than the AC. She walked toward the silent patient's room, and froze. The door was cracked open. Inside, a shadow stood over the bed. A man wearing gloves, holding a syringe. Assassin. Without thinking, Maya slammed the door open. Maya, stop. The man turned sharply, shocked. In that split second, the silent patient tore out his oxygen line and lunged, tackling the assassin to the floor despite his injuries. Chaos erupted. Security ran in. The assassin fled through the stairwell. The silent patient collapsed. Maya caught him. For the first time, he whispered. Just one word. A name. Luca. Maya's breath caught. He was telling her his name. Luca, the missing Marino heir. A man the FBI and rival gangs had been searching for since the last Mafia war. He looked into her eyes. Luca, don't tell anyone. Then he went unconscious again. The next day, federal agents arrived. They questioned staff. They demanded files. But Maya kept her promise. She said nothing. Meanwhile, Luca's silence finally broke. He spoke, only to Maya. Slow, cautious, weighed down by everything he couldn't say. Luca, they killed my father, and blamed it on me. Maya's eyes widened. Luca, my uncle wants the throne. A dead heir makes his claim perfect. Suddenly, it made sense. The tattoo, the assassin, the power outage. Luca was not just a patient. He was the surviving heir of the Marino Mafia family, targeted by his own blood. But what Maya didn't understand was why he trusted her. So she asked, Maya, why me? Why speak to me? Luca looked away. Luca, you're the only one who didn't look at me with fear. Rumors spread. Someone inside the Mafia family learned Luca was alive. More men appeared around the hospital, disguised, watching. The police increased patrols. The FBI camped outside. But Maya still felt it. Something bigger was coming. That night, at 1:12 a.m., an unmarked black van pulled up behind the hospital. 5 armed men slipped inside through the loading dock. The silent alarm triggered. But too late. Gunshots erupted down the hallway. Patients screamed. Nurses hid. Maya ran toward Luca's room. When she entered, she found him standing. Weak, unsteady, but ready. Luca, I won't run anymore. He shouldn't have been able to walk, but fear and anger kept him standing. Gunman reached the ICU floor. Luca grabbed a metal four-pole. Luca, you helped me live. Now let me protect you. The firefight was brief but intense. Security and police pushed the attackers back, but one gunman slipped through and entered Luca's room. He raised his weapon at Maya. Luca moved faster than his injuries should allow, and shielded her with his own body. The gunman fled after being shot in the leg by an officer. Maya stared at Luca in shock. He saved her life. Luca, we're even now. But inside, Maya knew it wasn't about being even. It was loyalty, something Luca rarely gave to anyone. The hospital became a fortress. Reporters flooded the news. Whispers spread that the Marino heir had survived. The Mafia war was boiling. And finally, Luca told Maya everything. Luca, my father tried to end the violence. My uncle wanted power. I was supposed to die that night too. He paused. Luca, you saved me before you even knew my name. That's something I never had. There was no romance. Just unspoken respect. And a bond formed under fire. Just when everyone thought the danger had passed. The hospital fire alarm triggered. Not an accident. A distraction. 4 men stormed the ICU in tactical gear. The FBI engaged in a violent firefight. Maya hid behind the nurse's station, but saw one gunman rushing toward Luca's room. Without thinking, she ran. Again, just like the first night. When she burst through the door, she screamed. Maya, Luca, get down. The gunman turned. A deafening shot rang out, but not from the gunman. Luca stood behind the door, holding the fallen officer's weapon. The gunman dropped. Breathing heavily, Luca looked at Maya. Luca, why do you keep risking yourself for me? Maya swallowed. She didn't know how to explain it. Maya, because everyone deserves someone in their corner. For a moment, the world fell silent. By sunrise, the FBI seized Luca's uncle. The coup inside the Mafia collapsed. Luca, wounded but alive, agreed to testify. Not to save himself, but to end the war that killed his father. Before being transferred to protective custody, he asked to see Maya one last time. When she entered, he stood, steady, strong. Luca, I won't forget what you did. Any of it. Maya smiled gently. Maya, take care of yourself, Luca. He hesitated, then nodded once. A silent promise between two people whose worlds should never have collided. As the agents escorted him out, Luca looked back one last time. Not with longing, not with sadness, with respect. Deep, unbreakable respect. Narrator, emotional. And that night, Maya Thompson went home knowing she had changed the course of an entire Mafia family. Not by fighting, not by running, but by doing the one thing no one else dared to do. Showing mercy to a man the world had already condemned. And somewhere, in a hidden safe house miles away, Luca Marino, the silent patient, remembered the nurse who saved him. Not out of duty, not out of fear, but out of loyalty. A loyalty that would last a lifetime. 6 months passed since the night Maya saved Luca's life, twice. The hospital repaired the hallways. The news cycle moved on. Chicago returned to its noisy routine. But for Maya, nothing felt the same. Every time she passed the ICU room where Luca once fought to survive, she felt a strange pull. Not affection, not longing, just curiosity. Was he okay? Was he safe? Was he still alive? But she never asked. Because in her mind, Luca Marino was gone, vanished into federal custody, buried under new identities and sealed reports. Or so she thought. One rainy evening, during her night shift, a patient was checked into her floor. Gunshot wound. Left shoulder. Stable condition. The report was routine. But when Maya checked his vitals, she froze. Across his ribs, barely visible beneath medical bandages, was a scar she knew better than her own handwriting. A jagged line, carved by the stab wound she had treated months earlier. Her breath caught. It couldn't be. She leaned closer, heart pounding. The patient's eyes opened. Dark. Focused. Familiar. Luca. Alive. Back in her hospital. Back in danger. But this time, he spoke before she could. Luca, hoarse voice. Don't panic. I'm not supposed to be here. Maya stared, stunned. Maya. What happened? You were safe. Luca. I was. Until I wasn't. He tried to sit up, but winced sharply. Luca. There's a traitor in the FBI task force handling my case. Someone leaked my location. Hitmen found the safe house last night. Shock ran through Maya's veins. Maya, so they shot you? Luca, they tried. I got away. He locked eyes with her. Luca, you're the only person I trusted enough to come to. Maya immediately understood the danger. If Luca's enemies knew he survived the ambush, they'd track him again. And a hospital, full of civilians, was the worst place for him to be. Maya, we need to tell security. Luca, no. The less people know I'm here, the safer they are. He grimaced, lowering his voice. Luca, and safer you are. But Maya shook her head. Maya, Luca, you came here bleeding. That means you trust me. So let me do my job. She stitched his wound, her hands steady despite the storm raging inside her mind. While she worked, he explained more. Luca, my uncle's allies are regrouping. They want the family throne. And as long as I'm alive, they can't take it. Maya swallowed hard. Luca, they won't stop until I'm dead. Before she could respond, the hospital intercom buzzed. Security alert on level 3. Unauthorized individuals spotted on surveillance. Maya's stomach twisted. Level 3. The surgical floor. Just one level below them. Luca's jaw tightened. Luca, they found me. The lights flickered, the same eerie flicker from months ago. Maya felt her chest tighten with déjà vu. Luca, where's the emergency exit? Maya pointed down the hallway. But before they moved, heavy footsteps echoed from the stairwell. Luca grabbed her wrist. Luca, this way. They slipped through a staff-only door into the laundry corridor. Warm air, rolling carts, endless rows of sheets. Behind them, muted voices approached. Gunman 1. He's here. Spread out. Luca's breathing grew shallow, not from fear, but blood loss. Maya supported him. Maya, stay with me. They reached a maintenance elevator. Luca smashed the button. Clang. Click. The metal doors creaked open. They stepped inside. But as the doors began to close, a hand shot through the gap. A gunman forced the doors apart. Gunman, found you. Maya screamed. Luca reacted instantly. He lunged forward, not with strength, but desperation, slamming his shoulder into the attacker. The door snapped shut. The elevator descended. Maya stared at him in shock. Maya, you're losing too much blood. Luca gave a faint smile. Luca, I've had worse days. But Maya saw the truth. He was fading. The elevator opened into the dim hospital basement. Empty, quiet, smelling of bleach. Maya helped Luca onto a bench. Luca, there's a man I need to reach. The only one left who's loyal to my father's legacy. Maya, where is he? Luca hesitated. Luca. He runs an auto shop near the river. Old friend of my dad's. Name's Rocco. She nodded. Maya, then we go there. Luca shook his head. Luca, no. You go back upstairs. I walk out alone. Maya's voice sharpened. Maya, you can't even stand. He looked at her, not with stubborn pride, but a strange mix of gratitude and guilt. Luca, I won't drag you any deeper. But the basement door suddenly swung open. 2 silhouettes. Guns drawn. Luca pushed Maya behind him instinctively. But Maya grabbed his arm. Maya, Luca down. She pulled him into a storage room just as bullets tore through the hallway. They hid behind metal shelves, breath shallow. Then Maya noticed something. A small metal fire door on the opposite wall. An escape route. She pointed. Luca nodded weakly. Luca, go. Maya, we go together. They slipped out of the basement exit into the cold night air behind the hospital. Maya hailed a cab. Luca slumped in the back seat, barely conscious. The driver eyed him suspiciously. Driver, long night, huh? Maya, he needs to get home. They drove across Chicago until they reached a small garage lit by a single buzzing neon sign. Rocco's Auto and Body. Maya helped Luca out. Inside, an older man in a grease-stained jacket looked up. His expression froze. Rocco, kid, you're supposed to be dead. Luca gritted his teeth. Luca, good to see you too, Rocco. The old man rushed over, lifting Luca like a father would a wounded son. Rocco studied Maya. Rocco, you're the nurse who saved him. Twice now, huh? Maya nodded, catching her breath. Rocco's expression softened, gratitude hidden beneath rough edges. Rocco, then your family here. He locked the shop door, lowered the metal shutters, and turned back to Luca. Rocco, they won't stop hunting you unless we end this. Maya's eyes widened. Maya, end it how? Rocco looked at Luca. Luca, By taking the throne. By cleaning the family from the inside. Maya stared at him, stunned. Luca, I didn't choose this life. But if I don't take control, this war will swallow everyone I care about. He looked at Maya. Not romantically. Not emotionally. Just honestly. Luca. And that includes you. For the first time, Maya realized the truth. Luca wasn't running anymore. He was preparing for a war he could no longer avoid. Maya, what do you need me to do? Rocco smiled at her courage. Luca, nothing. You've done more than enough. But Maya stepped forward. Maya, no, Luca. You came to me because you trust me. So if I walk away now, I betray that trust. Silence hung heavy. Rocco nodded slowly. Rocco, she's right. Luca looked conflicted, torn between protecting her and needing her. Finally, he exhaled. Luca, then stay. Just stay until this is over. Maya nodded. Maya, I'm not leaving. Outside, a black sedan rolled slowly past the auto shop. Watching. Inside, Luca prepared for the greatest fight of his life. The heir had returned, and this time, he wasn't silent anymore. For the next 2 days, Rocco's auto shop became a war room. Maps, names, old alliances, new betrayals. Luca sat quietly, one hand pressed to his bandaged shoulder, the other wrapped around the chair as if anchoring himself to reality. He wasn't the broken heir anymore. He was the last Marino standing. Maya observed silently, patching Luca's wound again and again as he pushed himself beyond reason. She knew the truth. Luca wasn't trying to survive anymore. He was preparing to finish something his father died trying to fix. Word spread across Chicago's underworld. The Marino heir lived, and he was coming. One by one, old allies resurfaced. Men who respected Luca's father. Men who despised his uncle's brutality. Men who owed the Marino family their lives. But there were also whispers. That Luca was weak, wounded, unready. That killing him would earn power. Rocco slammed his fist on the metal workbench. Rocco, they'll test you, kid. Every last one of them. Luca didn't blink. Luca, let them. But Maya saw what Rocco saw. Luca wasn't afraid. Not because he was brave, but because he had nothing left to lose. That night, while Rocco contacted loyal crews, Maya sat beside Luca inside the dimly lit shop. Neither spoke for a long time. Finally, Luca broke the silence. Luca, you shouldn't be here. Maya, you keep saying that. Luca, because you don't understand. The people coming after me. They don't stop. They don't fail twice. Maya looked at him, really looked. The scars, the exhaustion, the weight of an entire legacy on his shoulders. Maya, you're fighting for something bigger than revenge. You're fighting for peace. Luca's jaw tightened. Luca, I'm fighting because if I run again, everyone dies. Rocco, the loyal men, the families they protect. A pause. Luca, and you. Maya's voice softened. Maya, I'm not afraid. Luca finally met her eyes. Luca, I am. It was the first time he ever admitted fear. Not of dying, but of failing. Just after midnight, Rocco burst in. Rocco, they're gathering at the old Marino warehouse. Your uncle's last loyalists. He's there too. Luca stood, wincing but determined. Luca, it ends tonight. Maya grabbed his arm. Maya, Luca, please. You're still healing. Luca, if I wait, they regroup. If I run, they hunt. If I fight. He looked down, voice trembling just slightly. Luca, maybe no one else has to suffer. Maya felt something ache in her chest. Not love, not romance, just fear of losing someone she watched rise from ashes. Maya, promise me you'll come back. Luca hesitated. Luca, I'll try. It wasn't enough, but it was honest. The warehouse stood like a forgotten tomb on the riverbank. Silent, cold, waiting. Luca entered with a small group of loyal men. Maya and Rocco stayed hidden in the surveillance room above, watching, powerless. Inside, Luca faced his uncle, Don Salvatore Marino, surrounded by armed loyalists. Salvatore, mocking. You should have stayed dead, Luca. Luca, you should have honored my father. Gunmen raised their weapons. Luca didn't flinch. Luca, this ends one of two ways. You step down, or you die clinging to a throne built on blood. Salvatore laughed. Salvatore, you're wounded, outnumbered, and you think you can challenge me? Luca stepped forward. Luca, I'm not here to challenge you. I'm here to replace you. The room erupted into gunfire. Chaos. Smoke. Screams. From the surveillance room, Maya watched with tears streaming down her face. Rocco muttered under his breath. Rocco, come on, kid, hold on. After minutes that felt like hours, the gunfire faded. When the smoke cleared, Salvatore lay on the ground. Alive, but beaten. Luca stood over him, breathing hard, bleeding heavily. Luca, this family is done killing innocents. It's done with your corruption. And so are you. He handed his uncle over to the few remaining men who still respected the Marino legacy. Not to be executed, but to stand trial under Mafia law. Luca didn't want revenge. He wanted justice. When Luca exited the warehouse, Maya ran to him. Her breath caught. He was pale, blood-soaked, barely standing, but alive. Luca, it's over. And then he collapsed into her arms. She screamed for Rocco. For a moment, she thought she lost him. But Luca opened his eyes and whispered, Luca, you asked me to come back. Maya laughed through her tears. Maya, you took long enough. They rushed him back to the auto shop, treated him with everything they had. Hours later, as the sun broke over Chicago, Luca finally moved his fingers. He had survived the night his entire life had been leading to. Weeks passed. Luca rebuilt the Marino organization, not as a criminal empire, but as a peacekeeping force that dismantled violent operations and cut ties with corruption. He met with federal agents, negotiated immunity for loyal families, ended rivalries that had lasted decades. Bit by bit, Chicago grew quieter, safer. One evening, Maya found him sitting outside the auto shop, looking at the sunset. Luca, my father once told me, a family is measured not by power, but by how many people sleep safely because of you. He looked at Maya. Luca, thanks to you, I finally understand what he meant. Maya smiled gently. Maya, you saved them, Luca. You saved all of them. He shook his head. Luca, no, we did. The bond between them wasn't romantic. It was forged in fire, built on loyalty, sacrifice, and respect. A bond that would last a lifetime. And that is how a silent patient became a leader. How a nurse became his compass. And how two strangers changed the fate of a city by refusing to give up on each other when it mattered most. The Marino family didn't rise again through violence. It rose through honor. And Luca Marino, the heir who survived the impossible, finally lived not as a king, but as a man at peace.